live.
Finally, we don't have circumstances that hold us back from doing another show, albeit not everyone gets to the time to see us. We're thinking about changing it to Tuesday when we get to the house where we're setting up a studio.
Okay, we're back.
We're back.
Yeah.
We weren't.
Just for like 2 seconds.
2 seconds we weren't.
Yeah, when it went dee.
So anyway, I had a life-changing moment this week. I climbed down 3 or 4 feet down into the ground, into a septic tank to work on the electric pumps that pump it out of the septic tank and up to the field lines, 60 foot high, 500 feet away. And I couldn't get them to work properly. So I went in there. So now my feet are 9 feet below the ground. And when I go down in, my waist is touching both sides of the pumps, the pipes that come out of the pumps go straight up and then out the end. And so I had to turn sideways to get my chest down in there so that I could, what I wanted to do is see if the float switches were bad. Or maybe that was the reason. So I reached over after turning and squatting down pretty close to the water, and in water probably 8-10 inches high. And I lifted the float switch and I got shocked and I couldn't get off. Probably wasn't more than 3 seconds, but it seemed like forever. So I thought I was going to die in a septic tank, no less. So I'm very, very grateful to be here. I had to climb down into there after I turned the power off and made sure it was off. And despite my claustrophobia now and fear of getting shocked, I went down in there again and then again and then again 3 times. And I'll have to go down in there at least 2 more times. So I am grateful to be alive. And there are many other instances along the way. Anyway, what I thought would be good to talk about, since we here in Arkansas, center of this country, are dealing with colder weather, that it might be a good thing to talk about things that we need to do to get ready for cold weather. One of the first things that comes to my mind, if I start from the top and work my way down, is might be time to get the leaves out of the corners of the roof of a house or out of the gutters. Might be a good time, because those things tend to catch ice and things like that. Also hold moisture and kind of chase around gaskets that are leaking. They're gappy. They're so what I suggest then is if you, that's the only time you'll ever see water go uphill is whenever there's a dam of ice or snow and the stuff above it melts and then runs up because you're making a dam. So don't allow for those things to be built up on your roof. And
What the fuck?
not connected.
It's giving me shit. Reconnecting now. Hold on, guys. We're working on it. Okay. Allow.
So what I was talking about was the gutters and where the valleys are in your roof. Need to get all those cleaned out. Now why? Well, there's the anything clogged up like that can roll back and cause moisture to go into your home. To stay up there, when you have moisture standing on top of your roof, it finds all kinds of holes that you never would have dreamed of, and would not have any problems with any time else other than winter, where you have frozen snow and ice. So that would be a good time, if not sooner, to clean that roof and gutter out, the valleys and such. It also wouldn't be a bad time to take a look up. If you have a metal roof, see if you have a ridge cap that has the gasket at the foam gasket that goes underneath that ridge cap. See if it's blown about and not doing its job anymore, shoved up too far and or coming out. You could take a look at that. You don't even have to get on the roof to see. You could get somebody else, but you could get on a ladder and look up there, or stand down on the ground if the angle is right, and you can see up in there. You might also screw down the screws if you have a metal roof. Take care of shingles that might have a nail standing up. You lift that shingle up and then hammer the nail down. Now's the time, or earlier, to get that done. Might also, if you have a mobile home and you have a metal roof, would be a good time to go ahead and, if it's dry, to coat that roof and seal it with tar first and then coat it with white elastomeric. But you could do it with silver Cool Seal also. Check your vents, make sure that there are not any cracks around them. That could be on a house too, but most people don't notice it on a house because they don't climb up on that steep peak. But a lot of times that roof is leaking and you don't know it until they get ready to replace the roof. And they say, oh, by the way, we have to replace a certain amount of plywood because that vent has been leaking in this place and that place and this place. So yes, it does happen on shingle roofs, just like it does anywhere else. You just don't notice it. So now the next thing would be to, if you're going to close up your vents, some people do the rolling vents. If you have a electric vent where it comes on with a certain amount of heat, it wouldn't be on anyway. But a lot of times people they have the wind-driven vents. They go ahead and cover them up with a plastic bag. Just got to remember to take the plastic off when it comes springtime, when you want that heat to come out of the house, out of the attic. So that should pretty much take care of your getting ready for winter on the roof. The next place we might talk about are the windows. Most places now have gas charged double pane windows, and some of the older ones might have a single pane on the outside and a storm window on the inside. And if you go even further than that, you have just a single pane glass. Each of those have their issues. A single pane the moisture will collect on the inside of the house. If the outside of the house is cold and the inside of the house is warmer, it will be, because even if you are breathing in there, it's going to be warmer than the outside with no wind inside. So that moisture will come down and drip into whatever you have on the bottom of that window. And so you might keep an eye on what you need to do to protect that area during the wintertime. Could be simple as tape, and it could be that you might want to replace that with something that will hold up to water. The old school ways of dealing without not having a double pane or even a storm window was to staple up plastic.
Duracell 8 is here.
Hey,
And he's got a question.
Oh, what's your question?
I'm looking for replacement 30 by 54 windows. Any good recommendations? Best double pane price is from Maynard's. Single pane, big box stores. Any others?
Yeah, I use a company that's owned by Barton's. It's called Home Outlet. It was called, man, I forgot what they were used to be called. But they
Something close to that.
it was,
Discount outlet, maybe?
no,
Damn it.
it was something close, but yes. Anyway, that I could order windows from there cheaper and have to fit the size. Matter of fact, I've got 6 windows to put in this coming week on a house, but I've done it on mobile homes. When it comes to mobile homes now, you might get a discount at Habitat for Humanity or someplace where somebody's getting rid of their windows that they don't want anymore, or they just don't like them.
We've gotten some really cheap, really fancy windows that way.
And they might be oversized, way bigger than the hole that you have in a mobile home.
We got videos to fix that.
And you can widen that window opening out, take out that window and put in the double pane, and then line it with wood or whatever it is you want to line it with. But you can do that in a house also. It just work. It's a good time. So I use Habitat for Humanity quite a bit. I use Facebook Marketplace. The only thing I use Facebook for. My wife puts up videos.
No, I don't.
Or she links them to videos on Facebook, but I don't interact with people on Facebook. It's not because I've got a lot of extra time anyway. Nor am I interested in everybody's business.
Not looking to expand the size.
You can order them. Yeah.
Order them.
Lowe's, Home Depot, all those places can do it.
Just call around and see who thinks you the best deal.
And lead time, how much time they need to make them. As far as best, sometimes the local place will work with you more, but they're generally ordering from some other company. And it might take you longer to get, but what do you care if it's closer to you? And a week or two is not going to make a big difference, but
unless you already pulled the windows out.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to pull the windows out early. As far as the best place to get them, Lowe's and Home Depot have their own issues ordering. I haven't. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not going to recommend that they're. They certainly aren't paying me to tell you that they're great. But I don't have a favorite place. Usually, I let the customer know what size I need and let them order it. But sometimes I get involved because it's unnerving for them to do it, and they just rely on me, which I'm okay with. It's just that I like for the customer to be involved with ordering what's for them, particularly paint colors and things like that, or colors for that matter in windows and
Most
siding.
common is 31 and a half, 32 width.
Right.
He's looking for.
That's basically a 32 by 32 window.
And which means moving the existing window rough in is 30 inches.
So sometimes that window has drywall in it, and they set on top of the drywall, or they leave enough gap for drywall to slide in. That means you have that 1 inch more. So you might look and see if you have room to put in a 31 and a half or 32 by 32. You might have it. You need to, but then you'll have to bump your drywall into it instead of, or whatever material into it instead of, beside it. and then you seal it with spray foam if you want, but caulking and things like that to seal that. There's been some discussion about with me recently about whether or not spray foam actually holds its R value. It definitely keeps wind from blowing through as much, even if it loses its insulation value. So, understand I don't have a true answer, but probably loses its R value with time. I don't know how much. I should know that, but it's not been something I've been focusing on. But as far as there's no need to go to the name brand Andersen or Pella unless you just want the name brand. I haven't seen a bad brand of windows, so go with what's, I don't know a bad brand. If it's a low cost brand, you can bet all your window replacement people, unless you request it, it's more than.
The windows screw in from outside, so the stud spacing is 16-inch on center.
On the outside? Yeah. So you gotta, if it's a mobile home, you don't have much room. What you can do is take the panel below and above off, and then hammer over the top and the bottom of one side, and then extend the wood so that you can get it solid over to that by putting a piece of wood from the closest to the out. If it's a house, you pull a.
They say closed cell spray from foam is wind and water vapor proof at 2-inch minimum.
Right. But
that makes sense to you because it's Swahili.
But from whether or not it holds its R value, I know that there's discussions in large commercial construction that the foam loses its R value with time. I don't know how much, and I probably should. So, be aware that it is basically for blocking moisture and I wouldn't count on moisture resistance, but blocking wind particularly, which is really what we're trying to do, is stop the wind from coming into our home. So you can then, when you put that window in, you can put sealant underneath it. It does not have to be putty tape, although putty tape's a good choice. I think they got another name for that in Lowe's or Home Depot. And it comes in round strings. You don't have to do that. You can do silicone. And you can also silicone around the outside. Every year, you can check that. I never silicone.
Oh my gosh.
We disconnected again?
It's... Hold on, guys. I gotta fix this to see if I can get it to stop being retarded. Okay, I think we're good.
So I never sealed the bottom of the window.
Sorry about the shakes, guys.
What I always do is seal the top, particularly in sides.
Duracell 8 is saying if you don't have air movement, then overall air charge per hour minimizes, helps reduce your energy bills. You can't paint silicone, so I don't like to use it around windows.
There is a paintable, siliconized caulking for that. There is paintable silicone also, but there are siliconized caulking that works. What it does also is it binds the when you go ready to take that window off, you realize how well it's holding the window to the wall, in addition to whatever you use to fasten it, which I use screws if possible. But yeah, you're doing a lot of good research on that and studying on it, and that's good because you probably got it for a lifetime, your lifetime. So I don't worry too much about the bottom of any window, because if any moisture gets in and it wants to get out, I want it to get out. I don't want it to stay in there.
No hands on the DVP.
Oh. So, another place that you might consider is they make a gasket for your outlets and switch covers. You put it underneath them, and that blocks cold air from coming around the plug or the switch. And you can literally, I used to have a temperature gun that would change colors if it was colder or hotter. So if it was red and it was colder air coming out, it would turn green as it hit that. I'm trying to think. I think it was Black & Decker that made that. And I used it until, so many people borrowed it.
The Duracell 8, I own 6 mobile homes, so I'm learning fast. I use flashing tape around the rough end before the window installs.
That's a good idea. Works good.
By the way, guys, we love hearing what you do. Everybody learns from everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have 15 or 16 mobile homes.
Do we have that many?
I have only on the property.
14. Oh, okay, you're counting. If your dad doesn't sell it out from under you.
Right. So the switches and the outlets have gaskets that you can put on those, and it keeps cold air from going through the wall as much. So it probably slows down bugs too, by the way. Don't guarantee it, but it probably does.
They make a FLIR camera attachment for cell phone. Oh no, dude, this cell phone just sucks. This is my old cell phone, and it sucks horrendously. I quit using it because if you bump the charger, it disconnects.
Yeah, I guess we're doing a little too budget. So that is something when you're getting ready for winters, you might check and see if you can put some gaskets around the outlets and the switches, and check around the bottom of and during the winter time, check around the baseboard and see if you're getting wind coming up through the baseboard and trim and that kind of thing.
I like spray foam. Each stud bay perimeter and use rock wool insulation.
A lot of people like using rock wool. If you do a whole lot of it, you need to wear a mask because it will get into your lungs.
FLIR camera is for heat and cold detection, $250. Oh,
yeah,
sorry, lost the conversation. I'm doing other things while I'm trying to run the chat.
This was a heat gun that Black & Decker made that it showed a red light and it would give you the temperature on the gun, and whenever it hit a cooler temperature it would change to green. In the summertime, if you had it on during the summertime in the hotter temperatures, it'd do cold, and if it's hot air coming in it would turn red. And that was nowhere near that much. It was probably, but that camera you're talking about is really good, and the app on the phone is pretty cool. I haven't used it as much, but
rock wool prevents pest and fire spread as well.
Yes.
I hadn't heard of it. He probably knew it, but y'all are speaking Swahili. I like all of you, but it's Swahili.
So it doesn't work real good with mobile homes because the walls are smaller than what it's made for. It's usually made for 2x4 or 2x6 walls, and it works really well. Rock wool, well, you're talking about you can put it to stop mice and things like that.
Oh, then why don't we have it?
They're talking about the metal
Okay.
stuff that you scrub with.
Oh.
So what we deal with, she's talking about with mice, they come in every winter too. That is part of what winter and spring brings on. They start getting the mice try to go in and out from whatever comfort you've given them, in and out of the house. So we have a battle that off and on we have to keep after it, and we use Prefert traps. I think there's other brands. They're L-shaped and plastic.
The only ones I found are the ones that look like demon spawn that work.
Really heavy duty jaws and
Big pokey things.
yeah. So, but you just have to keep after it and take care of them because otherwise you'll have a great big mass of them. Like if you see one, you got 7. So if you see 3, you've got 21 or more. And they're rotating in and out and having children and all that stuff. So you want to take care of that early. There's also a time to be having your furnace checked. You know, checking your vent-free heater tubes. If you have a propane vent-free or natural gas vent-free heater, maybe check your thermocouple, and if it needs to be sanded just a little bit, but clean everything up. It's a good time to do that. Check for leaks on the gas lines. It's not going to cost you much, but soap and water put into a spray bottle if you want, or you can just pour it on there. It's not a big deal, but just a little bit of soap, dishwashing soap, and water, and pour it on the connections, and you can see if you got a leak, a small leak. It will even show a small leak. Also on the outside, you have doors, not just windows, and those doors have gaskets. Exterior doors will have gaskets. Those things can be checked. The sweep on the bottom of the door needs to be checked. And check your the rubber gasket on the bottom of the door itself. Sometimes it gets torn, and check it whenever the wind blows. See if things are moving. We have.
He says he's converting to mini splits.
It's the way to go because the air conditioning guys are getting out of control. They're asking way too much to replace a conditioning unit and a heater inside. Their house or a mobile home, it doesn't matter. They're trying to get anywhere from $7,000 to $12,000 for something that only costs them $3,000. Mini split costs you $1,000 max.
Do you prefer interior swing or exterior swing doors? Depends on where you live.
Interior or exterior what?
Interior swing or exterior swing doors?
Interior. Interior.
I was going to say, depends on where you live. Do you get a lot of snow?
No, if you're, yeah. So if you have a lot of snow,
you don't want it exterior.
That's why even in this area where we're at, whenever I build decks, I try to remind them that we do get from time to time a foot of snow. And you might not be able to open your storm door, which is something you think about also, if you have the deck up there next to, you know, the bottom of the door. So anywhere from here north, you would have to think about that. Now, so, people still want that, but you might have a trouble getting out of your house if you got 2 foot of snow out there. So you want the door opening in and be able to bring, I guess you got to bring a snow shovel in. We don't have that much snow.
We used to keep it in Idaho. We always kept a snow shovel inside the door.
Kept a snow shovel so you can get out. Yeah. So yes, it would swing in.
Yeah, because I remember one time opening the door and it was almost as tall as I was. That's no.
So when it comes to mobile homes, generally I'm trying to put house type doors, even though they're taller. I'm putting house type doors in mobile homes. Some of the house type doors go right up to the bottom of the framing for the roof, but there's no weight on that roof, so it's never been an issue. Um, and that much taller, and quite often, if the customer wants, I can widen the door opening to a 36 from a 32, and now they can get their furniture in. And it's better insulated than the doors, and the jamb is not plastic, even though it's finger jointed. It's not plastic, paper. A lot of the old mobile homes and even the new mobile homes are laminated paper of some sort to make it look like wood, and those don't hold up at the bottom where it meets the aluminum. At the bottom there, you'll see rot. But to be honest, everything in a mobile home is a budget way for you to get started. That's what I see it. So you can fix that home and improve it as you get money. You know, you can do it yourself or find somebody qualified and have them do it one window at a time, one door at a time. So what I'm trying to say is when it comes to mobile homes, I'm always trying to put house type in.
Yeah, he said he just swapped in an exterior swing door box store brand, 36 inches wide.
Yeah, and mobile home people tend to put small decks on there, then you can't get the furniture in and out, and you end up tearing up the door jambs to get furniture in. Even a 8x10 deck can be small to get in a big couch. So, you having problems still? I'm gonna have to replace that.
Yeah, no joke.
So anyway, when it comes to windows and doors, I generally try to take mobile homes to house type or even house size. Air conditioning is not going to be used too much, other than I like the mini splits, but I'm not sure that they do well. You off?
Well, you're talking, but there's the camera finally.
Okay. The mini splits are based on a heat pump situation. So at some point when you drop down to really, really cold temperatures, the heat pump is not capable of keeping up.
He says his biggest issue was what to do with the roof. I put a straight stairs and a small landing straight shot.
Yeah, that straight shot is a good idea. As far as the roof over the, no matter if you have a big deck cover, the wind blows in snow and ice from any given direction over it. So there's,
Doesn't matter what you do, if you can't keep the water out, it's all going to get rent.
The house type doors have, I believe the material that they're using is popular and is finger jointed. So those pieces are like 12 inches sometimes, one piece after another on that outside trim. Eventually, I end up having to replace it with PVC brick mold, they call it. And once you do that, it's the jam you got to worry about. I usually put a flashing above, and it's usually there already. I just take it and put it above the house type door. Needs something for sure, but don't forget to seal the bottom of your door where it connects to the aluminum. It's supposed to have sealant, and most people don't put it in, even though it has a big tag there, say seal this area here with caulking. It still doesn't get done. Also, the gaps on the sides of that door, you need to make sure that you you don't want to put too much spray foam in there because I've seen it where it's, you know, swells up the door and now it doesn't close properly, rubs. But we have a problem with a dog door. We had a very big dog, and he died very young. But that big dog door had problems with the wind blowing, and it blows in cold air or even snow. You know, we have a cover that covers 8 feet out. So what we did, it was end up putting weights on the bottom to hold that magnet at the bottom. Even then, we get some high winds, and it causes that to open up some, blow cold air in. So that's something you need to look at. Also, you've got you know, getting ready for winter time. You have that moisture coming inside with your shoes, and people up north know all about this. But now's the time to figure out what you're going to do about cleaning your shoes off or taking your shoes off once you get in, and protecting the floor there so that moisture doesn't get in there and contaminate or rot the wood underneath.
Any suggestion for awning over windows or doors?
I have a real cheap budget way. I use metal roofing pieces and balusters. I think I did a video or two on that. It's real inexpensive. It's an awning, but most of that is for keeping the sun out and cooking the inside of the house. But I think awnings themselves work really well to help the windows in mobile homes. So what I do is I take a piece of metal, the width of the window maybe a little wider, and I bend the edge up and fasten it above the window and then seal it. And then I put two balusters, which is an 1.25 by 1.25 by whatever length you have out there, usually 3 foot, is the metal 36 and 35, and you take it out there to the edge, and then I take the same balusters and go down at an angle to the wall and fasten everything with screws. And if you don't have it too high up where it catches wind, blows away, but down so that wind comes along, it tries to push it.
He wants to know if you can make a drawing on the board behind you.
Yeah, I can. All right. So, let's say if this is a side view, this is your window area. The window would be like this. The wood would be under here, and then a brace like this here with another piece of wood.
Awesome, thank you.
That's metal. Front view would be, it end up looking across like this, and above the window you turn a lip there, and you put screws into that area above the aluminum lip, and then you seal it right there. And you have to kind of keep up with that sealant, but it blocks off some of the window, keeps the water from coming in, snow from running, you know, down inside there. Mostly it keeps the sun from going through.
Destroying things.
Yeah, the sun gets in there, and a lot of your older mobile homes have 2 windows, a regular window outside, a single pane, and then another storm window on the inside. And the sun gets in here and just cooks and gets everything really, really hot in here. So.
And you use wood. Wood to support, and then metal.
Wood right here on the bottom and right here. This is metal. The 36 inch or 37 inches actually is the width of the metal that you use on metal roofing, and you turn it sideways, so the metal roofing ribs would be like so, every 9 inches, I think. There's one on the end here, one on the end over here. So the ribs are running that way. you know, I've got some that have been up for 14 years. Hasn't, I mean, they're not looking real pretty, but I need to go through and redo them. But I did for another couple on their shed. They were trying to keep the sun from getting inside the windows there, and it's been there for 10 years.
And yeah, the sheet metal's on top. The wood supports.
It's not really. It's roofing metal. It's metal building metal. So it's, you know, whatever width of the, you cut it from the length to match the width of the window plus 1.5 inches on both sides, or whatever. You know, if you do that, then you can brace down to the wood that is beside the window. If you go wider, then you might hit aluminum or siding that's got nothing under there solid to hold it down. And then when it comes to mobile homes, it's now the time to look underneath there and see if you got any place where the animals have been getting underneath the skirting and then getting up into your underbelly, underpinning, if you will. If you have, you know, if a plumber went underneath there or electrician, they just take a knife and cut it and climb up in there. They don't necessarily put it back. Now it's time to tape it all up. And foil tape works best for me. Way better than, longer lasting than duct tape. So now it's time to do that. If you haven't done it in a mobile home, and for that matter in a house, where you have the metal ductwork coming up through the floor, or for that matter through the ceiling, you take the vent down and you look where it connects to the floor or to the ceiling. Make sure that there's no, you take foil tape and seal up any cracks that you see that might let the outside air come in, or let your air conditioning or heat go out into the attic or into the floor. With double wides, you might also look into the crossover ductwork from one side to the other. Animals want to get into that in the wintertime, and animals will get into it in the, I have people call me and, hey, what do you do when you got cats in your ductwork? Well, I already automatically know they're in a double wide mobile home. Because that crossover ductwork, the cat will get in because it's cool, and then try to get into the house. They're going down through the ductwork trying to, you know, meow, and they'll meow at you through the vent. So that's the crossover ductwork. I generally take to metal ductwork, and then it has sleeves that pull over it, so you have it insulated and you don't have to worry about it sweating in the summertime when the cold air is hitting it. Same with heat. So you put insulation on it also. So you want to check your crossover ductwork and make sure it doesn't have holes in it from animals. One of the things you want to keep up with is every now and then take a walk around your mobile home. Make sure the skirting doesn't have places where the animals have went underneath. Now, back to what we're talking about, the vent-free heaters. I like those because even if there is no power, you still have heat. I try to encourage my renters to do that. They're not really responsible. They always go, well, I can't afford what it costs, $400 to get you know, propane, and like, well, you spend that in 1 month for electric bill if you use electric heat. Okay, and they'll end up using the stove until they burn the oven element out and the burners out, trying to heat the house with it, and the electric bill goes through the roof, so they can't pay their electric bill because they have other habits, and they rev their electric bill up. Whereas if they just paid the propane, they would have had it through the winter for like $600. You know, probably $600-700 now. You can put a vent-free heater in there, and you know, I do it in my house. I don't worry about central heat and air. And yes, I will be using more and more mini splits because that's the way to go. It's so inexpensive. It's Now a 110 mini split you can hunt it down and find for $500. That's hard pressed to find a window unit that's worth anything for $500. So mini split's the way to go as far as a choice. Now, if you don't feel like you're capable of doing the work to get a mini split, I understand why you would go to a window unit. If you are doing window units in your house or your mobile home, either you take that window unit out or you put something to cover the grills and not let the wind blow cold air straight through that air conditioning unit. Then you want to cover that on the outside with plastic, and you may have to do some plastic on the inside because there's vents all the way around that thing.
Plastic, towels.
Yeah. We always, we don't have the latest and the greatest because we always take secondary stuff and try to do our rentals better than what we have. Very few exceptions. She and I don't look to have a fancy life, and we're just wanting to get through.
If it costs more than a chicken, a fancy chicken, you
she's
better
got
have
she's
a
got
good
her
reason.
chicken business, so money gets spent there. So you want to check your propane, make sure you got enough to make it through. If you don't, plan on getting some propane. Might be a good time to open up your panel and take an insulated screwdriver and tighten up all the screws on all your outlets, or all your breakers rather. Those of you feel qualified, it's not a bad thing to go through and tighten up all the connections on the outlets every now. It doesn't have to be every year. But let me tell you something. Electric heaters cost you about $40 a month if you run it regularly. So you're looking at that much heat is pulling off of that outlet, and if you ever go back to figure out why the sections of your mobile home or even your house is not working, you'll find out that somebody had plugged a electric heater into there, and it heated up the connections on that outlet until it cooked the outlet and cooked the wire, and you got a bad connection. When it comes to rentals, that's one of the first places you look for is that blackened outlet where somebody plugged it in and say, okay, that outlet's not working anymore, I'll move to the next one. And invariably, it means a section of that room will not work because it goes through that outlet. And they're saying, well, there's some problem. Well, it's because they were using electric heat instead of propane, which I provided. Now, whenever the power goes out, I still have propane heat. I still have vent-free heaters. And for quite a while there, we had a on-demand water heater that had a double D-cell batteries to keep it ignited. So we even had hot water if the power went out. We had hot water and heat. So power could go out, we'd be good. We had generators if we needed to. Preserve the freezers and such as that. It's also time to drag out your winter clothes and the shovels and all the things that you need. Check your generator. Make sure, if you got one, to make sure that it is not got a clogged up carburetor. Or it's not always the carburetor. Sometimes it's the little holes going out of the gas tank. Now, I don't know why they make them so small, but they do. Sometimes it comes out of the gas tank, that thing gets clogged up, and you have to, clean it up in the freezing cold if you're not on top of it. There's a lot of little things along the way, but I think we touched on most of them. And if you guys think of anything else, then I'm sure there's lots of other things that we need to think about.
Feel free to add it in the comments.
Right. We're if you're thinking that we get rich from doing this, you're mistaken. YouTube doesn't pay well at all.
Not with the ads. And we actually have a higher CPM than most.
We have a higher CPM than most of the people who have
just straight entertainment.
Yeah, so what our motive is not to make money. but actually, my motive is to share with you what I've learned. When I'm gone, then I can't share with you no more. But I am happy to keep on learning and share with you the things that I learned, and that's what I'm doing. Even if I just thought about it selfishly, when my boys don't have me around anymore, this my website and these YouTube channels theoretically will still be there. We're on Rumble and BitChute and Odyssey and things like that, and we have our own website. So those things will be available to them. Even if I wasn't talking to you guys, I'm glad to have any kind of interaction.
The boys inherit the videos.
Yeah, they get that, and they have a different viewpoint. They not totally different, but they have a different viewpoint because they have a younger view toward it all, like anybody new would. But they still are learning, and they're both into commercial air conditioning. They both left me, and I'm pleased they did, to go do air conditioning. And one of them's in just outside of Seattle working for Blue Origin. The other one's working in Denver, a little town just outside of Denver, or part of Denver. And he's working for the medical college in Denver. So both those guys are making. One of them's making 30 plus all the benefits, and the other one's making 45 plus all the benefits, and they're 24. So do they need me? Maybe to talk to whenever things get tough, and I'm a rah-rah cheerleader just like I am here. So that's what this channel is for. If nothing else, if nobody gets any benefit, and it seems to help some people. I get some criticism along the way, not a lot. I shouldn't say a lot. But I'm willing to deal with it. It's just what I'm hoping to do is share with people what I've learned, so they don't have to not know and try to fumble around themselves. Siding on a mobile home always helps. It's another layer to go through, and you can put house wrap or any kind of other sealant to block it before you put the siding on. So those are all things you can think about. Even with housing, that a lot of times you can blow in insulation in the walls if there was an old house and nobody worried about the electric bill back in those days, 40s and 50s, 60s and 70s even. Wasn't much insulation then, in the floors particularly. And the floors are when you notice the most, because you'll be sitting there and your feet are cold up to your knees because you don't have insulation in the floor. So it takes work to go in there, but you can do a little at a time, just like with eating an elephant, one bite at a time. Just do a little at a time. I personally would like to just knock it all out, but I have so many projects that I enjoy my life. I'm not complaining that I haven't gotten to a lot of the places that I need to on my own home. So
and when we think we don't have enough projects,
I
or
pick
we
up
get a little
more.
bored, we add more.
Yeah. So mobile home, people criticize mobile homes so much, but now you see everybody moving toward the little house stuff. That stuff is not even
Fancy as a damn mobile home.
It's nowhere close to a mobile home. So I can have criticism from that all you want. I've built a portable building into a little home, including raising the roof to get a bedroom upstairs. So it's sometimes a bit stronger, but way smaller. Even from the old bumper pull mobile homes back in the 50s. So it's way smaller. I suggest that we need to all work together to make our lives better, and it is our job to encourage one another so we can survive. Why would we want to run each other down? just work with each other. And that's what I'm doing, is sharing what I know. And I go on YouTube and see what other people have to say, and I learn from them. And not just YouTube, on and on. TikTok.
He's obsessed with TikTok now.
She says that. For me, it's, I probably spend an hour a day doing TikTok. Maybe. Depends on if I remember it's there.
Or you don't fall asleep.
Yeah, I can easily fall asleep when I sit down. So, I hope that helps you some with getting ready for winter. Consider that the snow is going to sit in certain places and hold water there, catch water and hold it. You might want to move that snow, or keep snow from building up in any particular place. Seems like a lot to ask for up north, but it is what it is. And I wish you guys all the best, and I wish you all to stay warm and comfortable. And my thoughts are with you. I have nothing but good feeling about everybody. I have no reason to hate anybody. Not even the people that owe me 6 months of rent. I got one guy that
Don't
owes
even get me started.
Yeah. So he's a longtime friend, and he's about to have to be gone, because I've done put up with enough. But I don't wish him ill will, and I don't hate him either. I understand why people get to a certain point, and I want good things to happen to everybody, and including everybody who might see this. So, heads up. I wish you all